Have you ever found yourself super excited to sit down and actually start creating some print-on-demand designs? You cannot figure out what niches to even pursue. You literally have no ideas. Well, in today's video, I'm going to share with you some of the best things you can do when you have no ideas, how to find some really great niches with both some free methods as well as a couple different paid tools. But these are the tried and true ways that when I just do not know where to start, I am going to go to one of these places first to just help spark some creativity and really help me find a niche that is going to be a winning sellable product and isn't just going to waste my time when I make it. So if you've either been looking for some really great best-selling product ideas or you just feel like you're stuck in a creative rut, this video is totally for you. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's just jump right into this list. Now, the first free way that I really like to find some ideas recently and just help spark my creativity is actually going to some kind of AI chatbot like ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT is one of my favorite ones and you can get a free account there, but a lot of times I will just ask it to help me come up with some really good t-shirt ideas or sweatshirt ideas, and it can just easily come up with a list for you that is a little bit generic. But a lot of times what I've found has been even more helpful is if you maybe have a little bit of a more specific genre of products that you want to create, it can help you find an even more tailored actual phrase or design to put on that. So say you know you want to be creating 4th of July mug designs, but you really don't even know where to start with that. You can simply ask ChatGPT to help you think of some really good ones, and it's going to come up with a whole list for you. You can refine that even more, ask more specific questions, and run with the ideas that you really like. So ChatGPT is truly a multi-use tool that I think all print-on-demand sellers should be a little bit familiar with because it's always a really great jumping off point. Now, this next free tool is definitely my absolute favorite, and I know a lot of you guys who know about this have been using it and loving it too, and that is actually using a cross-niching guide. Now, I actually created a full cross-niche guide for you guys. What basically this is in my own personal print-on-demand business, I had created kind of a system for helping myself find really hyper-specific niches that don't have as much competition as maybe a more generic niche would. So I would take things like all the biggest holidays in the United States, and since those have a lot of competition, I would combine that with something like a list of pets or hobbies or careers. And so I was always just kind of doing that on the notes in my computer, and then I decided, hey, this would be a lot easier if I kind of made this into a formal system and created some kind of guidebook. So I initially kind of created this for myself and then wanted to make a version that you guys could actually use too. So I have a full cross-niching guide with over 40,000 different niche ideas. So this is kind of the best tool if you just do not have it in you to go to some kind of research tool and like do a lot of extensive thinking. You can just flip to some different categories, pick 2 things randomly, and then run with making designs. So it's super easy to kind of get you out of a creative rut and just help you get to creating again. Now, I realized that I didn't have a really extensive tutorial or guide on actually how is the best way to use this to actually find niches that are going to get a ton of sales. So I created a full almost hour-long workshop for you guys that takes you through my whole niche research process using this guide. It is totally free to you guys, and it just lets me go into a little bit more depth than I would be able to in a YouTube video like this. So if you do want access to that free workshop, just sign up down below and I will send all the information to your email for you to watch that today. Now, this next free idea is one that I use to really help spark my creativity and help me kind of think outside the box when it comes to what kind of products and items that I should be selling. So sometimes I feel like we really get stuck in, okay, I'm only making t-shirt designs, and sometimes we just want to try something different. Maybe that's not getting the traction we want and we need just a new idea. So a lot of times what I do is I actually go over to Printify's website, which Printify is the manufacturing partner that I personally use to fulfill all of the orders that I get on Etsy. Now, if you've never used them before, I truly can't recommend them enough. As a manufacturing partner, you guys have heard me talk about them all the time. But One thing that I'll do is I will just go to their product catalog and either look through like lists of their best sellers, or sometimes I go down to the new products and just kind of see what's new out there. And then sometimes I get ideas for things that I've never even thought to make. So like say they have a new kind of like desk mat or a new kind of water bottle or tote or something. Sometimes that really jogs my creativity and kind of sparks something that I want to try something totally new and outside the box. Now, if you do feel like you're in a really creative rut, sometimes just trying a new product type for a few different products can help you kind of get those creative juices flowing again. And then that might not end up working super well for your shop, but it really does help spark things. And then you can kind of go back to what you're doing once you've made a few of those. But I truly have found some amazing new best-selling product types just by kind of looking through that catalog and finding items that I didn't even know were possible to sell. One of them is candles. I had never really thought about selling that, and then I was just kind of browsing through there and was like, hey, that's actually a really good idea to sell candles. And then that became a good selling product in one of my shops. So you never know what new product idea is going to come to you by just browsing through those. Now, the next free place I really like to do a little bit of research and just kind of find some new ideas is actually going to be on Redbubble. So even if you don't actually sell on Redbubble, which I know a lot of you guys do, you can go onto their site and you can look through their different trending products. So one easy way that you can do this is just click on the search bar, and then it's going to give you kind of the top 3 trending searches right now, but you can kind of refine this even more and get more information by typing in some different letters. So for example, you can just start by typing A, and it's going to give you the top 3 search results for A. So if a lot of people have been searching those, there's a good chance that those are actually trending. And you can repeat this process going through the whole alphabet, so A, B, C, D, E, and just see what all of those top trending ideas are. I often like to have a notebook next to me and just kind of jot down some of those different ideas that I think really could make good best-selling products. And then at the end of that, I'll kind of pick some of my favorites and run with those to make designs. Now, there also are some free websites that kind of take this trending data from Redbubble and put them in a more easy to understand system. So one of them is actually called Bubble Trends. They can be more or less accurate, but the nice thing about them is kind of they lay out all of this information and you don't have to meticulously go through every letter of the alphabet if you really don't have time for that. So that is another one that you can check out that's a totally free resource. Now, this next way to find a best-selling niche is free, but it can be pretty tedious to go through. So this isn't always my first choice, but sometimes if you're in a really creative rut, you just want to scroll through some things and get some inspiration. And that is just going to be going to Etsy and scrolling through some of the pages of their best sellers. Now, a lot of times this can kind of inform you about wider trends that maybe you didn't know about and really help you get an idea of what kinds of items are selling. So sometimes I think it's way too hard to find an actual niche when you're doing something like this, because a lot of times it's going to be those like more generic designs that's way too hard to compete on, like moms, teachers, maybe cat lovers, things like that. But what I really find helps me is I get a good idea when I just look at those first pages of bestsellers is I can see kind of like trends emerging. So you see different styles of shirt that are selling well, the lettering that people are really using, the kind of graphics that are doing well. So maybe you see that a lot of retro stuff is trending, or more distressed kind of grunge, early 2000s designs are doing well. So a lot of times I'm taking my cues from that and then adding that onto a different phrase or niche idea. But sometimes it really just helps to spark my creativity when I don't know what to design. And now the next place kind of like this that you can spend some time scrolling through that is also a free thing you can do is actually go over to Amazon, to their handmade Amazon section, which is kind of their competitor to Etsy. And a lot of times I like to scroll through their bestsellers here because they are going to be a lot more easy to figure out how I can make a print-on-demand item from an item that's trending on Amazon Handmade. Whereas if you just kind of go to the best-selling pages on Amazon, there is so much information to sift through. So this just gives you a little bit of a smaller idea of what items are really selling well in kind of that handcrafted, handmade area. Now, the next two tools that I did want to mention that are really fantastic for helping you find niches that are going to be best-selling are going to be paid tools, but I definitely want to mention them because a lot of times this is where the biggest difference is going to be made if you want to find items that have low competition but high demand. Sometimes you are going to need to pay for some kind of tool if just nothing else is cutting it. Now, the first one is going to be Merch Informer. You guys have probably heard me talk about them all the time, but basically Merch Informer is going to give you the data on the best selling t-shirts and apparel items on Amazon and present that to you in a way that's really easy to interpret and understand how you can take these best selling niches and make it into something new for yourself. And because this is based on Amazon, that doesn't mean that you can't use it if you're selling on another site. In fact, Merch Informer probably is my biggest go-to research tool, even though I also sell on other platforms besides Amazon as well. But a lot of times if something is doing well on Amazon's platform, that's a big indicator that it's probably a wider trend that would also sell well on other platforms like Etsy too. And then along with that is a more Etsy specific tool called Sales Samurai. So this can help you find some really great niches and ideas, and it also can be used to help verify niches that you think you might want to sell in. So say you use one of these methods and you found a really great idea for a t-shirt or a sweatshirt, and you're not really sure if this is going to be worth pursuing. So what you can do is you can search that, and then Sales Samurai is going to bring up a bunch of information based on similar products on Etsy, so you can check out the competition. If you pursue this, you can see what kind of keywords you need to include in your listings, in description and tags, and give you a bunch of relevant data to help you really create a best-selling design from maybe one of the niches you already picked out before. Now, once you have your niche figured out, the next step in this process is going to be creating a winning design that is actually going to get clicks and make sales. Now, this can be a very challenging part for new sellers, so I actually have a bunch of different design videos for you guys that make designing really easy and just take a few minutes, but I highly recommend you watch this one next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.